want to capitalize. I want to go back to what Ken, what you were saying a few minutes ago, is that we're approaching this from an on-demand, real-time approach. It's so simple. That's what makes it so disruptive. The financial models and accounting in the organizations today, they don't know what to do with that, right? And that's even a problem. So this is one thing that we're coming across. This is for you guys out there, our audience, is that the challenge here is that our approach, what we're modeling, the behavior, is where your organization should be in the future. So one of the first things we're going to do is let's start with the financials, or the accounting piece of it is, okay, how can we get our heads wrapped around, our minds wrapped around working in this iterative way in small chunks? And so that's the whole thing is, on demand. Okay, so we've alleviated that and we said, okay, let's, if you have a traditional accounting system and you can't do on demand type approach, okay, fine, we'll bundle a bunch of hours together and we'll just do a bucket of hours type approach, like time and materials, just standard consulting constructs that exist today. But in reality, what the organizations should be doing is this should be part of that's part of their transformation, is how they even think about getting the real-time services that they need, like a laser, to that point in the organization. They need it when they need it.
What's fascinating to me is that culturally, we used to be much more accustomed to an on-demand model. Think about it. Doctors made house calls. You didn't have to make an appointment, schedule something 3 weeks out, get on the list, make sure all the prerequisites are met. You called the doctor, they came to your house. And while we've gotten away from that culturally, it's taken technology to really revive that. Now, we go to Netflix, we go to online, services, even Amazon. I want this product in 2 hours and I can have it. It's much more on demand. My kids don't know what it's like to wait through commercials.
TV Guide.
Right? Or wait for an episode to come out in a week because I can't stream the entire season at once. And so we're really just returning to something that I think is native to how we're wired in terms of, I have a problem, I need some assistance right now. I need a house call.
Yeah, what's really interesting about that model with the doctor, right? They were also aware of you. They knew you. They had experience with you, and this idea of organization awareness is something that we actually specialize in. This idea of paying attention to what's going on in the organization, listening to the organization, and being aware of your organization architecture. It's not enough to just say, okay, I've got this accounting system check, I've got this accounting approach check, or this sales approach. It's about how does it all fit together. And to do that, you need to have an organization architecture, which is simply your organization's history, its culture, and then its tolerance for change. And if you're not aware of that, or if you're not paying attention to that, you're missing out on what makes an organization successful. And again, just like with that country doctor knew you because they probably brought you into this world. Right? So everything about that, they were aware of you. Again, that awareness is so important.
And I also think, to John's point about the chunking and the just-in-time, is some of the fear of, is this transformation going to be successful, is the leader doesn't want to spend an enormous amount of money and a huge budget line item to take a risk, to do the change and have it fail. So it's expensive to hire a Big Four consulting firm for a 2-year transformation project, right? That can be $1 million price tag or more, right? And so there's a lot of trepidation from an executive to say, am I willing to put that kind of risk on? But if we say, let's go in small, let's chunk this out, let's do real-time embedded, on demand, as you need us, not even 40 hours a week full-time commitment of any one of our experts, but just as you need it, smaller chunks. If you make a mistake and fail, that risk and that cost is contained in that one project. And then once we've transformed and done one bite-sized chunk of a process, we can do more and grow organically internally. It takes some of that fear off of that executive from making the change and taking the risk and going through that transformation.
And similarly, it's disruptive to the traditional corporate learning models as well, where there is a learning track of which maybe 50% applies to me and my team, but I have to pay for the whole track, right? If we're in it for the full certification, and that's wasteful, right? That's not efficient. And when it comes to those limited dollars that can be spent, our approach allows us to custom tailor at the individual level. Almost like having a unique learning track, saying, I think this particular Scrum Master could really benefit from skilling up in these areas. Whereas I think this particular person in leadership needs to acquire these skill sets. And so let's coach or mentor in a different way here, and it's completely personalized across an organization.